Daniel's Dread Tales is a show for grown-ups. It may contain adult language and adult themes. Please check the episode description for content warnings.
Release the butthole cut.
Talking about cats now. That's a different musical.
There is a bit in Rent where somebody like moons somebody else, so theoretically that is possible.
I hate it here.
Well, with that, we should probably get started.
Alright, that is, we gotta sing.
When are we clapping?
I know normally we would leave the introduction for a
Pre-recorded thing?
for a pre-recorded thing, but I think this time it would justify itself to do an intro, but this time in the past tense.
That's a really good point.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Daniel's Dread Tales, the Low Places post-campaign Q&A session / analysis / discussion, etc., etc. I'm Nathan. I was the game master / dungeon master / keeper for the series, who only recently remembered that keeper is the term that this game uses, and I have never referred to myself as that until right now, so it is what it is.
The keeper of many terms for your role in the game.
Yeah,
Indeed.
That tracks.
Yeah, Damien, go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm Damien. I played Onyx Blackblade, the magic-using emo kid, also known as the Spellslinger.
Dan?
All right. I am the eponymous or titular Daniel of Daniel's Dread Tales. What's the difference between eponymous and titular? I don't know. I should figure that out.
I
later.
forget.
I played Roland / Manfred. Spoiler alert. The time-displaced exile. It's hard to read on my sheet because my cat has eaten most of it.
Oh, that brings me to the first award that I got. Most least remaining character sheet. That goes to Daniel.
I'm Isaiah. I played Mr. Miller, the fallen angel, but not fallen like devil. Fuck. Let me hold on. Hi, I'm Isaiah. I played Mr. Miller, the angel who was demoted to Earth. Also the divine. And my character sheet was not ripped up because it exists only through zeros and ones on the computer.
That is definitely a ripped up character sheet.
Yeah. It has not survived, but it's fine. I don't need it anymore. I hope I don't need it anymore.
Oh my god.
Because I'm not going to be able to do anything with it.
Did it get was it caught in a house fire before Nicolas Cage's character could decipher it for clues? What the fuck?
No, my cat always wants more food. And sometimes will just come over and take little bites of paper. Not that often, but every once in a while he'll do it.
That can't be a positive eating experience for your cat.
Not that often, you say, presenting a piece of paper that is more than half gone.
It's been sitting out on the desk just for a while now. Look, it's fine.
And you never put it away? Because that implies that this has been a gradual process of your cat eating your character sheet.
It has been. Look, this is my other character sheet from my superhero game.
Are you
Jesus, man?
Are you slathering Friskies on these things? What the fuck?
No, my cat's on a diet that he doesn't like.
Okay, that would do it. That would do it. Anyway.
Sorry, we haven't all introduced each other, and we got distracted with my dumb cat shit.
Russell!
Oh, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Russell. I played Gale until I didn't.
And I'm actually Daniel, speaking from across the room and running back and forth really fast. You thought it was Theodore Monk playing Isabelle the Searcher, but it was actually Daniel doing a funny voice this entire time.
Theodore Monk, like that's a real name? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to actually make fun of your name.
No, go ahead.
I mean, you should hear his full name. I think I have your wedding invite around here somewhere. It is...
Yeah. It's Theodore Staples St. John Monk.
Like, the first time I read it out loud, my mom from, like, the other side of the house yelled, "He has a perfect detective's name!" It was great.
Which is one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten on my name.
Well, if we're doing full names, I'm Russell Philip McCracken. Yes, that is my real middle name.
Oh yeah.
That must not have been fun during school.
My mom didn't realize it until I was like 20.
Oh no.
Wait,
I get it. Okay.
I think
Give
I'm
me a
stupid.
second.
Wait, Russell. I'm missing a.
What's
gag
the
here.
short form for Philip
Phil?
and Russell's last name?
McCracken.
Oh fuck! Oh my god!
It's a
Oh,
butt,
goddamn.
butt jokes.
Oh no!
As with all things, the key is to lean into it. So people would say Phil McCracken. I say, with what?
That's pretty good.
Oh,
Buy me
gosh.
dinner first.
I got to give you credit for that.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
So,
Oh.
Russell, you have volunteered to be the MC for tonight's event, so to speak.
Yeah.
And nobody argued. So, which I believe is how you became producer in the first place. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
fuck yeah.
Anybody can take it from me. I don't mind.
Yeah, you're doing a great
No,
job.
no. You've settled on this is your duty now. I'm sorry, man.
Fair enough.
Duty.
So yeah, I figured we could start with just general discussion about the campaign. I don't know where to kick it off because I do not MC things very often.
Fair enough. I'm proud of what we did first and foremost.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it was a good time.
Yeah, this is the first time I have ever GM'd something longer than one session, pretty much. So I was nervous, and I continued to be nervous. I just slowly cared less over the events of the campaign.
That's really what it's about.
I guess
Like-
so.
Like I used to do theater and getting over the fear of performing in front of other people was just a process of slowly forgetting they were there. And I feel like that's a pretty similar route.
Well, I owe a lot of it to you guys. You've made this a very comfortable experience for me. I thank you very much for that.
Hey, you did a great job at rolling with whatever weird shit we came up with.
Yeah.
And this is speaking as the person who came up with a whole bunch of the weird shit that happened during the campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we had the exact conversation of I'd like to use some magic. Oh my god. Several times.
Can confirm. Oh, I can bring up another award here. It's just,
awards. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, just general stats sort of stuff. Where was it? Onyx, over the course of the campaign, solved 33 quote-unquote problems of varying magnitude with magic, and only created 11.
Oh, okay.
Pretty solid ratio.
That's pretty good.
What was the impetus for the entire final session? So
Yeah, they did create the worst problem.
Yeah, I was about to say, when did you decide to lean into the fact that this whole thing ended up being my fault?
Oh, it was initially I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the finale for the series. But then I remembered that I had on several occasions said, don't worry about it in regards to the fact that you guys just left a shadow monster in Northern Ontario. And I'm like, wait, I can work with this.
Don't worry about it, narrator, but they should have worried about it.
Yes, they should.
Pretty much.
All turned out okay.
Oh yeah.
No, not really. Actually.
Everybody made it out fine.
If you round to the nearest whole percentage, we did get 100% survival rate from this campaign.
There you go.
Shit.
Okay. What about Gale though? I'm trying to do the math on that. I can't quite figure out how that works. Or was Gale already dead?
That was a possibility I thought of early on.
That Gale had been. You pull a Sixth Sense.
I mean, if we look at the survival rate as a pass-fail system, then everyone lived. We passed.
Yeah, the idea there would have been that, WoW's is being destroyed, but Gale was there too. So maybe Gale's not. Maybe Gale just looks a little better than WoW's, but is actually the same state.
That would explain the lack of memories, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Gale. That was fun.
I'll bet you.
Yeah, that is kind of the thing. I think we all had a lot of stuff going on with our characters in our brains. And we did the notoriously bad thing sometimes, which is I got all this cool stuff in my brain. I want to figure out how it can come out, and some of it comes out, and some of it doesn't.
Yeah. Some of it's just stuck in there.
Yeah.
Partially, I must admit that this is my fault because I didn't entirely know what to do with everyone.
No. My time displaced nonsense definitely messed. Yeah, because everybody, when we were sitting down and making our characters, everybody'd come up with an idea more or less, and then I was like, "Hey, I read a bonus book that isn't part of the main book, and I want to be a time traveler." And I want to be Roland because I've been playing Marathon again lately, and there's an AI in that named Durandal.
Yeah, I wondered if that was part of it.
Yeah, it's absolutely what it was. It's some Bungie shit. And then later on, I was like, I don't know, maybe there's something with a witch or something.
The number of times where you were in episode saying, "Is this my deal?"
Yeah.
To be fair, that like left field shot there with Roland and all of that, like him being the time displaced, that did lead to some interesting actual role play through the campaign. So that was rather awesome.
Yeah, I really just picked it once I got over my. I mean, I gave the name Roland because of the AI thing, but also I was really more based on, and I didn't tell anybody this until right now, the Shining Knight from Grant Morrison's Seven Soldiers of Victory, who is a time displaced knight who gets sent to the present day after everything bad has happened in the past. Although also secretly they're a woman. For this one, I decided secretly I was going to be somebody else, but that was the thing going on with that.
So
really.
I remember, and stop me if I'm misremembering, but I remember on our session 0, you indicated you were undecided on whether or not Roland should be Roland or somebody else.
That was the thing. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, because I was like, this might be too complicated. This might be too much going on. But
little did you know, I live for the drama.
Yes.
Was there a moment that you decided, like, yeah, okay, this is not Roland, and it's somebody who wants to emulate Roland?
I'm not quite sure the exact moment. I mean, I'd have to look back on it. People were talking about our backstories in like the Discord thread, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write some stuff because I'm bored watching kids on a field trip. And I started writing some Roland lore. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not actually Roland. I'm a different person, just because that would be more fun.
Yeah, I do think it.
Yeah,
I mean, it certainly resulted in some of the highest drama, I think, in the show, which is really nice.
Yeah, it is sort of funny. I did not think, and this was not planned. People are going to think this was planned when we had our like secrets day to get everybody's secrets out, which was a great way to have everybody exposition about their backstories. But then we fought the real Roland later that episode. That was not planned. I mean, maybe Nathan had that plan, but I did not have that.
Yeah, Nathan, had you planned for us to fight, or did you on the fly decide that was going to be
how did that play out there?
I'm trying to remember the specifics. I think when I realized that you weren't the original Roland, it was a little bit before Secrets Day that I was like, that would be a pretty fucking good way to reveal the secret that Roland isn't Roland. And you kind of beat me to that by a bit.
That's what happened. Okay.
The plan was always to kill Satan with the original Roland. And it just so happened that before that, Russell ran by me the idea of, yeah, we should ask I think we should ask Lucifer for help. I think that'd be an interesting story bit. And I'm like, yeah, that would be interesting.
I did decide like literally like the right as we started recording the session that revealed that Lucifer was dead, I was like, I'm gonna pursue a romance with Lucifer.
Huh.
And then Lucifer was dead, and I was like, this is better.
Oh, it's like the co-op game I played with Baldur's Gate with my wife.
Explain further.
She was like,
No.
maybe I'll romance Gale this playthrough. Definitely not where that name came from. Totally.
Oh.
I was like, I'm playing the Dark Age. I'm gonna eat him.
But yeah,
Good stuff.
I enjoyed the sort of tug between a dogmatic approach to morality and like what it's actually like down here. I didn't myself play into that as much, although we collectively did in a way that was really positive. But I was thinking that a potential romance with Lucifer would be a good opportunity to have Miller personally experience that tug. And then
that totally fits thematically with some of the other stuff that was going on too.
Yeah. And then Lucifer died and bequeathed something to Miller, and I think it was the same style of like, no, they had something like a connection which complicated things for Miller. So it still sort of filled that role to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Nathan, when did you decide that God was dead? Like from the beginning? Was God dead the whole time, or did you stumble across that?
The God is coming from inside the house.
Fuck Yahweh, by the way. Screw that guy. But
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
He's not real. It's all made up.
What is he gonna do? He's dead, as established.
I do not necessarily speak for other people on this call if people are worried about blasphemy or whatnot. But religion's fake, folks. None of it's real.
It's extremely funny that the guy who was playing Roland's gay best friend is saying this.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I had decided around pretty early on, I think, when I was like, I did the big plot twist of, everyone had fallen.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Why did I do that? Because it's good
I
drama.
thought for sure you were going with God is evil. That's what I thought we were going towards. I thought we were going towards
I
God
also
is evil.
thought that, yeah.
I was on that boat too.
Yeah.
No,
I was kind of hoping for that, to be honest.
I was going to kick that guy's ass.
No.
Attack and dethrone God.
I before anything answers, I will say that I am partly, not for like blasphemous reasons, I'm kind of glad we didn't go with the God is evil route, because to me that's always like the least interesting thing you can do with God, because that's just what people in real life tend to argue anyway, that like if God is real, he's a bastard. I think it is more interesting to say God is real and he fucking bid it.
Yeah.
God was real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God was real is a more interesting way to take it, I think.
The initial, I think what I wanted to do was have, I realized, hey, everybody is fallen. Why has God kicked everyone out? And part of me was like, because me personally, I like the idea a little bit of a largely benevolent God, because it raises implications and questions that are not easy to answer about benevolence and free will.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sidestep all of those entirely, because I realized, why would God kick everyone out of heaven? Well, maybe if he knew heaven was going to be destroyed.
You've got the Wikipedia page for God's Not Dead open on one tab, and you're like, wait a minute, and you hold your thumb up covering up the knot. My God.
So, and I really thought for a while, or at least I chose for Miller to think for a while, that this was a test for the angels to see like who of the angels were worthy of their place in heaven based on how much they would trust his plan. And so that was the sort of the internal mantra that Miller repeated to himself, which kept him actually doing the things that he was told to do. And that was like his faith was being tested constantly in this series. And I think if he had known God was dying, then he would have. I think he would not have made the decisions that he made,
So
for better or for worse.
So was God dead from the point that it kicked all of like everything out of heaven, or was it towards the end of the series?
I never got the exact timeline down because God being God, it is entirely possible that all of those were pre-recorded messages.
Yeah.
That's basically kind of where I was going. Were the messages to Miller like after a certain point just like essentially set it and forget it, like pre-recorded messages? It's like, okay, so I'm gonna tell him to do this, 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 and this.
And that's why they had to be so vague.
I choose to, largely because I myself haven't thought about it. I choose to keep it ambiguous at what point God was dead, but decisively the last voicemail was a voicemail because that was God basically explaining his reasoning of like, yeah, I'm sending everyone down to Earth, but the captain is going down with the ship. Also, I love you. That's a voicemail.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's a bit up to interpretation.
I do like the thought that like Miller's special ability was effectively divine voicemail, though.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.
We started mystery, and I'm like, oh, I have one unread message.
Oh man.
Oh wait, gotta check my voicemail a second. Like I gotta do this.
No, I thought God was going to tell us that he left all of his treasure in one piece, and we were going to have to figure it out.
I didn't mean for like voicemails and like messages to like end up being kind of a thematic through line, but they ended up as one on accident.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Phones and Discord were big in this one.
Yeah.
Discord did end up being pretty important.
Well, like, yeah, because
because it's how we record the show.
Yep.
It's also on my end because I was having some trouble picking like who I wanted to do my playbook as. And when I saw network for the searcher, that's where I was like, hey, what if it was just a Discord group? Like, what if my support network, my ally group of others, however, it's phrased, you may gain an ally group of others who've had experiences similar to your encounter. I was like, yeah, it'd be really funny if that was just like a Discord group that Izzy was constantly messaging.
I wanted to do more with like haunted internet, but it just ended up never being.
Yeah, the whole ghost in the machine thing is kind of hard to pull off.
Yeah,
like, I think it's not on its own hard to pull off. I think it would have been hard to intersect with just the direction that Nathan had planned, which is not a fault of Nathan. I'm not like, how dare you not incorporate more of my backstory? And if anything, I think it kind of worked for Izzy to be the sort of like the centering element of the party. Like, she was the one who didn't have this huge trauma, didn't have this huge like conspiracy she was having to go after. She could kind of be the one to be the most normal TM. I will say, if there was if and when we do a follow-up season, I think it would be interesting to try, like, not make Izzy like the protagonist, but like to incorporate a little more of like the technological like Ghost in the Machine aspect. But that's like that's a future thing.
If we do end doing that, I do plan on doing that, yes.
Yeah.
I was promised wet web.
Yes. And
it's gonna get wet, all right.
My greatest regret is not being able to fulfill the wet web.
I mean, to be fair, it was fun to make all of our characters be so very different from each other. We perhaps could have made them a little bit more similar so that things can resolve in a more reasonable way.
It's a very eclectic group for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think for the most part we tied it together by the end. Like, especially
yeah. I'm not saying that it was bad, to be clear. I'm not saying, man, this thing we did sucked. No. I'm just saying that we need to maybe be more careful in our zero sessions.
Maybe.
Okay,
although I think it worked out okay. It's more interesting than just everyone being like, yeah, I'm a I'm a hard-boiled detective. So am I. So am I. So am I.
and I think it's also inevitable when it's a group like this who like some have played together, but some are new elements that inevitably it's going to be harder than if everyone in the group has played with each other and knows each other to like get more synchronous elements.
Mm-hmm. So I would like to kind of counter that myself by saying that like I think with the way that we did it, it led to actually a little bit more of a natural interaction between the characters. Because like if you look at any just social group of people, like you're gonna get people who are, bound together for whatever reason, in, their like social structure, but are wildly different in their approach. With us as like characters, it was more we had the end goal to try and figure out, what the fuck is going on and like how to fix them in a way.
I remember something from the session 0 that was tragically lost in the fire. Once we figured out our relationships, it was like, well, I guess we know what we're all doing on the train, resenting each other.
A little bit.
Yeah. I do wish I do if I could go back and do this campaign again, one thing I would play more into the angle of like Miller and Gale had a thing and then stopped having the thing and it was not positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up cutting down the voicemails because I didn't want to leave it on too much of a bummer note.
Yeah.
Gale's gone. Gale's dead. We're all sad. Also, Gale was a terrible person. It was maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
I mean, that is always like, I don't want to call it a risk because it kind of implies some element of maybe you shouldn't have, but that's always like a tricky element to handle as a party member who is kind of a bad person compared to the rest of the party. You're writing that line between how much can you fuck up to like make things more fun and how much can you fuck up that'll just start pissing off all the other players.
Yeah.
And every group is going to have a different threshold for that.
Yeah. My gun only likes to shoot Miller.
That was a hilarious random gag that kept coming up.
I don't think I managed to shoot anything else over the course of the campaign.
You must have shot what was her name? Onyx's mom at least once, right?
Oh, right. Literally just the once.
Yep. It was the one hit on her.
At least that was justice.
Yeah.
By the way, side little thing, I just wanted to mention one more dumb thing of synchronicity. I mentioned that Roland was kind of based on the character Shining Knight from Grant Morrison's Seven Soldiers. Did you know that in that story, Shining Knight ends up having to kill an undead version of their former lover?
Amazing. We love to see it.
Which that was not planned. I was just thinking about that again. I was like, yeah, I guess I really did do a lot of Seven Soldiers Shining Knight, and oh yeah, I mean, I killed Galahad. I think is it Galahad? It's one of those guys. It's the one Shining Knight kills. Anyway,
daughter of Galahad.
Right.
Been watching a lot of Bluey recently.
Right, you have kid.
Yeah.
That's right, but no. Implying
anyway,
I
didn't know where to fit that in, but I felt that I had to mention that.
Yeah, I did not know that your character was heavily inspired by Shining Knight.
Yeah.
Hilariously, Shining Knight is more or less the main character of my favorite episode of Justice League. The one that's approximately based on the Seven Soldiers of Victory. Great episode. Justice League was a good show. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Although that Shining Knight is a dude Shining Knight, the Shining Knight in Seven Soldiers is like a different version of that. But
yes.
Yeah. Also, by the way, everybody, just go read Seven Soldiers of Victory by Grant Morrison. One of the greatest comic books ever made. But
I mean, it's Grant Morrison. Pretty consistently does good shit.
Yeah, they are the best. Anyway, so did we have any questions that we needed to address? I feel like we had a list of questions from the audience.
I was just thinking maybe it was time to get to those.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe as well.
So the first one we got is, why was Miller demoted and how did he get the gang together? Which we sort of covered a little bit.
Yeah.
But we've also got a plot hole, because Miller must have been demoted before the big ousting, because he and Miller had been together at some point.
Mm.
So maybe Miller was the last angel to get, singled out for demotion.
I'll admit I hadn't really considered it. My God being, vaguely all-knowing gives me some leeway of, God could just plan around this kind of shit or whatever.
God could have just known this shit was gonna do, so he just planned it.
Yeah.
Well, he did leave you all those voicemails.
I do like the idea of a god who's fully omniscient, and that includes knowing that he's going to die.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. As for how Miller got the group together, I'm not sure we ever officially went into it, but I think that was one of God's little voicemails. Was tied to that, getting a monster hunting crew together.
Miller, call your ex.
The note I have for how Mr. Miller got me into the group was track me down to hire me. I taught him how to use the internet, which made finding the others easier.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was I found Gale first. I happened upon Gale, and then we had a relationship that was not positive. So I said, "Hey, fuck you," but the angel version of that, which is just goodbye. And then I found Izzy.
You know
and
what?
I was
Be afraid. Fuck this. Be not afraid. You be afraid.
Yeah. And then I found Izzy, and to Izzy, I was like, "Oh, you're like a normal person, but you also understand, you know enough to know what's going on. So maybe you can help me gather a team." And over the course of that, I was like, well, Gale probably would be good for this. I don't like it, but I also my role is not to judge, so I can deal with it.
I showed you how to use the internet to find more people for this group, and you spent 20 minutes on it before going, we are using anything other than this. We are finding the group the old-fashioned way.
Absolutely.
I have never met anything more godless in my life.
I like to think that, Onyx was probably in the Discord, for a while before that, and when the group was, being pulled together, both Izzy and Gale were like, "Hey, Onyx, you wanna do something interesting?"
Yeah, because I think even that's, looking again at my notes, I think we did establish that, I knew Onyx through the Discord. I think we, either you were part of the same Discord as the rest of my group, or we just otherwise met, and so Onyx and Izzy knew each other, and Gale, I have the note, read their fan fictions, deduced that they were based on reality, and contacted them.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So Theo, and I want to ask you, what decision makes more sense for Izzy? Did Miller ask Izzy to join the team, or did Miller say, "Hey, I need a group of competent people who can do this," and Izzy just kind of stuck around?
Huh. That, I kind of like the latter. I think that's kind of interesting.
That's
If Izzy just yeah.
I'm getting a group of monster hunters together. And I could come too, right? No comment.
I will not stop you.
I literally free will was God's greatest gift to your kind, and I cannot circumvent it. Long pause, no matter how much I want to.
That is your choice to make. You can make bad choices. It is your right as a mortal.
And I joined the team because I fell out of a portal.
That's
you just
true,
get on the train.
I'm still. Did God send me through that portal? Did we ever figure that out? Is that something that's still a mystery?
The intention was that was God doing that. Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I do think that, Miller saw a guy come out of a portal, and they were like, "I'm rolling from history," and Miller was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure this person's supposed to be on my team." I feel like if not, then whatever, they're gonna be on my team anyway.
Hi, I'm Roland. From history.
Honestly, throughout the whole thing, I thought it would have been way more amusing if the whole portal that brought Roland here was in reality just a random occurrence that was just coincidental.
Like fully unrelated.
Yeah, and everybody else is like, oh yeah, God must have done this. The devil must have done this. And nobody knows for certain.
No, it was a freak accident.
It happens
Now
all
I'm
the
kinda
time.
mad I didn't do that.
He accidentally
Sometimes there's
touched
time
some.
travelers.
He touched some time cubes. It just happened.
Oh no.
Ooh, time cubes. Yeah, that'll do
Well,
it.
you put those in
That'll
some
do it
boiling
every
water,
time.
you got a nice time soup going.
Yeah. You don't want to drink that. It'll well, let's just say your stomach will travel in time.
You know the beach that makes you old? What if that was within your body?
Oh no.
So regarding Miller's demotion, we originally during session 0, creating my character, there's a bit where it says you've been put on Earth for a purpose, pick one. And we deliberated on this for a while before choosing that I've been exiled and I must work for the cause of good without drawing attention from my brothers and sisters, as they are bound to execute me for my crimes. And it's very interesting that by the end of the campaign, it was the end of days approaches. Your role is to guide these hunters and prevent it from coming to pass. And I like the idea that I had a different mission than I was told. I just did not know what my mission was. I very much thought I had been demoted, when in reality I had been given a role that was far more important.
That's pretty good.
And I think that's neat.
You were divine covert ops.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to move on to the next one. That's pretty easy. What does WoW stand for? I actually covered that with the final moments of the campaign, which is hilarious because it was never explicitly stated anywhere else. It's what once was Stephen.
Yes.
Huh.
That's kind of brilliant, actually.
It's really
I
good.
wrote this in the Discord at some point, didn't I?
No.
No.
Well, you might
I
have.
definitely
I don't
remember you
seeing it.
saying this.
Yeah, it's got that whole, Eldritch naming convention. Plus, I love the idea that it just sounds like a pet name for your boyfriend.
the creepiest pet name.
Yep. All right. And that one was real quick. So we'll start this next one off with Daniel. Anybody remember our relationships from session 0?
Remember that you and I, Gail, were supposed to have like a love thing that you dreamed about me or something?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Super romantic.
We didn't do a ton with that. We did a little bit with that, but
Yeah.
we ended up just being like homies.
Yeah, there was some stuff there.
Oh, okay. Well,
Gail was
Roland,
definitely gonna put the moves on you for that prayer session they had planned later.
yeah, didn't quite play out that way. That's the only real one that I remember. Let me look at my sheet. Oh wait, I can't. It's difficult. Isabelle took me into the modern world. I think that one was very true. I was hanging out with them.
We did a lot of bits with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always found that the funniest relationship of just like Roland being unintentionally a very bad roommate by virtue of having to acclimate to the modern world.
Yeah. And Onyx was supposed to be related to me. We never really did anything with that.
It was
We
mentioned.
sort of
alluded to it.
Like we had alluded to it, but it never really went anywhere. That's fine. You're not going to get a chance to touch on all these things all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think Miller and I were both attacked by the same monster. I don't know what the fuck that was.
I wrote down we've both fought the devil before.
Oh, okay. I mean,
go.
I guess we both fought the devil. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
that was my stuff. I remembered mostly just the dream and that I forgot that we had established that Izzy was chill. I'm staying with them was in the fucking character sheet. I thought that was just the thing we'd stumbled into.
I know for my part of that question, Izzy was acted as my conscience when the power goes to my head, which that kind of came up once or twice. I know honestly it kind of came up less with Izzy and more with everybody else during the whole Saga Talk thing when I tried to summon the thing that I summoned in Northern Ontario to Saga Talk, and everybody was like, no, you don't want to do this, it's bad and evil and all that, and whatever. Blood relation was Roland, as he was an ancestor. You thought they were dead was Gale.
Which, to be fair, might have been.
Yeah. That I think only came up once. I can't remember what relation I had with Miller.
Yeah, so for my sheet, I have, and this is like a asymmetric relationship. But for you, I have they are at heart a good person. I must help them stay that way.
Whoops.
Yeah, I did not succeed. But I do think that dynamic in our relationship did play a role throughout the whole narrative. Like whenever you did something like Eldritch, I was not present. Like I was just fully unaware of all of this shit until it was too late.
Yeah, it's sort of like Scully is never around when the aliens show up.
except that in this case, Scully is also an alien.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think when because you were kind of captured and being drug away when I summoned the thing to Northern Ontario, and everybody else was kind of grumpy about it, but they didn't have time to say too much.
Yeah, and Miller would have been pissed. In fact, I think when the truth came out, Miller was like, "I'm very unhappy with you, but there's nothing I can do about it now."
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And then we did Secret State, and Onyx wasn't happy with Miller either.
Yeah. At that point, it was like, well, I'm not in a position to yell at you. I love Secret State.
Oh, Secret State was great. How about you, Theo?
Absolutely.
You remember any relationships?
I did a little bit already, but to sort of restate it, I think it's like Gale and Onyx were already kind of like in Izzy's friend group, but I think it had been like the plot hadn't kicked in. They were just like three people who happened to be vaguely like supernaturally connected. And it wasn't until Miller entered the picture that things kind of coalesced into like a more directed group. So it's like Gale was someone Izzy knew and was friends with, even if like they sometimes made her uncomfortable with all of the fan fiction. Onyx was probably like actually one of Izzy's friends, but they were just more like they hang out sometimes. You would help each other with like sort of aimless paranormal investigations. Miller was like wasn't really a relation at the start of the campaign. Like it was just like someone basically who like we established brought Izzy along on these things, or was going to bring Izzy along on these things. And Roland, meanwhile, I think Izzy's first instinct once that first adventure on the train resolved was, oh, this guy is like not gonna last unless like I help him understand how the modern world works. He's going to walk into like a fucking convenience store and get shot by an off-duty cop because of his sword if he doesn't fucking cool off.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt him.
Yeah, he's got armor.
That's armor, a tactical sense, and a shield.
I don't think that would have reassured Izzy. I don't think Izzy would be reassured by that thought.
I do love the idea of Miller going, oh, we definitely need to keep this guy around. And Izzy going, oh, Miller is absolutely not going to help this guy not get killed.
Yeah.
All right. I think that more or less covers everybody's relationships.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to the next question. This one comes to us from the Discord as well. It's from Zeddy Teddy. How many horses could the low placers take in a fight? I'll just obviously open discussion, but I'm going to start this one off because I think probably we're starting that fight, so we can take a couple just with surprise.
Individually or as a group?
I'm saying as a group.
Whenever I ask this question, I usually mean individually, but I don't really care either way. I'm fine.
How much damage can a horse do? Because I think Roland could take an infinite number of horses. Because he has armor.
You could definitely
Roland is immune to horses.
Yeah, I think I'm immune to horses.
I think
try to read what's left on my character sheet.
I'm pretty sure horses are armor piercing, though.
Ooh, if they are, I might be in trouble.
Wait, I'm the GM. I have some say over this. Okay, so horses are definitely armor piercing.
I think
armor piercing.
Pre grenade launcher Izzy could probably take like as many. It could take like 2 or 3 horses just by shooting them with their gun. Post grenade launcher Izzy could take at least a dozen horses.
You know what? Actually, okay. So 2 things. 1, a gun would really fuck up Roland. Actually, because I would at least have 1 less armor. Because 1 of my armor only works if I fight against ancient weapons or monsters. Although, what is a monster? But my question is, are horses monsters?
Yeah.
Now we're getting philosophical.
If they are, I can use cast out evil to take out some of them.
Let's look at horses and compare them to all other animals we're familiar with. There is something kind of uncanny about them.
Are they magic horses or just like normal horses?
These are
they fucking My Little Ponies?
First of all horses are magical. You fucking plebeian.
They're regular horses. They're not monsters. But the centaur that Gale suggests making with one of them would be a monster.
Okay, got it.
So Nathan, I rolled a 6 on my boss from beyond at the start of this horse encounter.
That means I got to give you something awful to do, right?
Yeah, when fighting the horses, yes.
Okay, so about what Gale was suggesting.
You gotta fuck that horse.
I'm so sorry. This conversation is over. Next fucking question.
We can take as many as you throw at us.
I'm surprised. I do want to admire our restraint. Also, that none of us made the obvious joke of Gale hearing "How many horses can you take?" and getting excited until in a fight.
Well, you've made the joke now.
You had your cake and eat it too.
When you do it. All right, so we'll start with Theo on this one because it's their character's deal. What do you think your character's Discord name is?
Oh, I think I established that somewhere. Let me see if it's on my notes. Fuck, where is it? There it is. Did I write that down? Oh yeah, I think her Discord handle is Izzard the Blizzard.
That's good.
Gale, as previously mentioned, is a big Psych fan, so theirs is MC Clap Your Hands. You thought it was going to be horny, didn't you?
I mean, those are some attractive people on that show. Dule Hill? Ooh.
I think Miller's is Miller Light.
That's good. I like it.
Okay, can I suggest that it's because you were trying to be like, I serve the light, therefore it is Miller Light, and like you just have no idea about the connection.
I actually
how do you spell light? How do you spell it?
Light. I think actually Izzy suggested it for that reason, and Miller said, "Yeah, that works." I'm not going to question this.
Roland from history, if I even have a Discord.
I think Izzy would have made you a Discord.
Yeah, we did establish that Roland ended up as a fucking manfluencer, so.
Hey guys, it's me, Roland from history.
Oh man.
I think Onyx probably leaned into the whole being a edgy emo kid and went with something along the lines of X Dark Flame _ Sword X.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Fuck yeah.
Ow, the edge.
That's everybody, right? Am I missing anyone?
No, you wouldn't take any damage, Daniel. You've got so much armor.
Exactly.
All right. This one's
Armor
mostly for
piercing username.
This one's mostly for Nathan. Were there any things you were surprised people completely missed?
Oh, okay. Looking over all my old notes. Well, one, I'm terrible at taking notes. That's the most important takeaway, I think, from all of this. But at the time I was surprised, but in hindsight, it's completely on me. My intended solution to the Penumbra Knight, to the battle against actual Roland, was for somebody to use one of your many light-related attacks and someone to use one of your many dark-related attacks at the same time. But I think the way I just talk through combat doesn't really encourage that kind of people acting at the same time. Which that's on me.
On you.
That one's completely on me.
We were also through the building.
also, in fairness, I don't think most people empowered by the apocalypse or even most RPG systems think in terms of combination attacks.
Yeah.
Like I think that would have been kind of hard. I think it would have been hard to drive us toward that conclusion without just outright saying it would be super crazy if one of you attacked with light and one of you with dark at the same time.
I mean, I came pretty close to saying that. I feel like every time I described what happened when you guys attacked with light or dark.
I totally got it. I just didn't do anything with it.
So bringing that up, I did actually have an idea for that fight had Daniel not taken initiative with that. I was gonna, because it was Izzy that went and grabbed the shard of the Brass City. I was gonna have her kind of throw that to me and do essentially kind of redirect that in the air. Like, was my intention was like redirect that in the air to Roland / the Penumbral Knight and attack it myself at the same time. To kind of simulate a combo attack, as it were. But then Roland was like, "Here, give me this," and I was like, "Hey." I don't have to steal the show. And it was also Roland's episode as well. So it kind of was more fitting to have Roland kind of pull that off.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that did end up becoming one of the more interesting combat encounters of the show, both narratively because of the Roland drama and also mechanically because of the just changing what floor he's on and therefore changing our priorities and splitting us up and all of that. So I still, even without exploring the weakness, I still think it was a really fun fight.
Yeah.
As a character, that was frustrating. As a player, that was awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I do also. Oh, sorry.
I had some fun RP moments in that episode, including being a cloud of smoke at one point, or leaving a cloud of smoke in my shape, I suppose.
Yeah. Were there any other things that you felt that we missed?
In hindsight, it's hard to say because much of it is, I just remember it going well. I look back at my notes and I'm like, these were written by a crazy person.
While you see if there is anything else, I do want to say the other end of that spectrum from a player's perspective of, instead of things we missed, things we kept trying to see if they were there or not and usually weren't, is how funny it was after that first episode where we were all caught so off guard by the Yuri L reveal that we then, the rest of the campaign, anytime anyone gave us their name, we would just be like, okay, are there any... Let's see. No, is that... Okay, that's not anything. That's not anything. That's not anything.
Tamara F. Chambers was originally going to be the Archangel Michael. I only decided to make her Odin after you called Mimir in, and I realized I'm really hurting for other sources of inspiration beyond basic bitch Abrahamic religion. That's a sentence I just said. But honest to God, the despair in my voice was real when you guys were like, okay, is this somebody? Is this a real person?
It's such a funny moment. She's like, listen, okay, fuck, I'm Odin. I'm not playing around. I'm Odin. It's really funny.
I am reminded, I ran an old Dungeons and Dragons game. Maybe this anecdote's boring and we could cut it out, but I always remember it. The players had been working for a secret person named Gad Nor. And they've been fighting evil dragons, and of course, Gadnor. If you looked at it and you rearranged the letters, it's dragon. It wasn't that clever or whatever.
That's one of those reveals you can only really do once in a campaign, because once you do it, your players will be on guard for it.
This is what happens. The moment somebody says, somebody was like, "You gotta look at his name; it's so obvious." And then one of my players was looking at his name and said, Rondag! No, that's not what it was. It was Dragon. He was so certain that it meant Rondag.
So fucking funny.
And I do regret, Nathan, that we ruined the bit of trying to name characters in an interesting way that is inspired by their origin. But it was very funny.
It was super funny.
Well, it's I would apologize, but again, it is the thing you can do once, but then your players will be on guard for it for the rest of the campaign.
Yep.
If not further.
Yeah, I'm not. When I meet a guy named Alucard, I'm not believing it. Or Lewis Cipher. No.
If we have room for another potentially boring anecdote, that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen an author do by accident. Is V. Schwab in her in one of her series, The Color of Magic books, there's a character who shows up in the second book whose name is Alucard. And so me being, a clever little reader, really like, oh shit, he's got to like turn out to be a vampire or something. And then I read through that book, no vampire reveal. Read through the third book, no vampire reveal. And I'm like so confused. And I finally look up and in an interview, she outright says, yeah, I had no idea that was Dracula backwards. I just thought it sounded cool as a name.
Honestly,
like,
respect.
Swab, how do you hear the word Alucard and not any of the 90 billion contexts of that being a Dracula alias?
I mean, shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It's so funny. I always think about that.
All right. I'll move on to the next question here. What was something you enjoyed or came to appreciate about your character? We'll start with Damien.
So honestly, the amount that I could get creative with like off the cuff solutions to various issues and conversely off the cuff causes to various issues. Like
Issues end on issues.
yeah. Like, oh hey, it's raining. You know what? Fuck it. I'm a flex. The rain's not going to touch me. And then it ended up actually helping out. I thank you very much for that, Nathan. In the actual like
I forgot about
solution of the problem. Or all chilling out at Onyx at Gale's place during Secrets Day. Nah, I know what's done on these couches. I'm a hover above it. I'm not touching this. Or conversely, sending out the Jormungand, an aspect of Jormungand to eat Leviathan.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was one of those things of, oh, hey, Leviathan is supposed to be, as far as I remember anyway, in Abrahamic religion, essentially like a gluttonous kind of worm thing himself. So let's send one that's just as big, if not bigger.
Bigger,
So-
as it turned out.
Yeah.
Yep.
For myself, is honestly very similar. The being able to be like Mr. Miller is weird in this specific way because he's an angel, and I enjoyed being like, yeah, I don't think he sleeps. I think he just like dissociates for 8 hours, and then being like, oh yeah, it's because he's an angel. So by the way, all angels are like this. Like we didn't get into those implications, but I did enjoy just being able to say something about Miller and be like, that's canon now. That's a canon component of a major faction.
Angels are effectively elves from D&D.
Honestly, yeah.
Does seem that way.
And those elves are based on Tolkien elves who don't sleep. It's sometimes it's a little inconsistent, actually.
Nope. Yeah, there you go.
I guess the thing with Roland, I mean, the big thing was, I guess this wouldn't surprise me because I knew it going into it, but I love doing fish out of water shit. Like that was just always fun to do. But the thing that I sort of stumbled into is like, oh, I'm going to be a quote unquote like good Christian person sometimes, like trying to embody the ideas of what, at least the good parts of Christianity. Which was a fun thing to stumble into, even if I was kind of an asshole about it sometimes.
Well, and I really enjoyed the ways in which you would be like, yes, I'm headstrong and I jump in
And I'll take you on.
and and I'll take you on. I'll take on anyone. And because I've got armor, so I can't get damaged.
Yeah.
But also being like, I am 100% positive that I am right about this. Even if the rest of my party thinks I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And especially like Roland and Miller and Gale like interacting in that particular way where like two of us are very dogmatic but from completely different angles.
Yeah, really
and then
different perspective.
And then Gale is very pragmatic, or at least I should say relatively pragmatic. And being like, hey, maybe you don't just rush in and kill somebody, right away.
It did make for a very easy character to play in some ways. I was like, what would Roland do in this situation? I know exactly what Roland would do in this situation. He would go in and try to save somebody or kill that thing.
He's got a big sword and he's going to try and use it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna make jokes about a guy being displaced from time. Easy. But no, it was fun.
Explaining modern stuff to Roland was pretty fun in the early episodes when we were still doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like a carrier pigeon. It takes the message and puts it on the internet.
I see.
Theo.
I would say this is a good question. I kind of
thank
said
God.
this already, but I think the thing I came to appreciate about Isabelle is how much of a stabilizing element she kind of was for the group.
Yeah.
In how that manifested in moments of stress where she kind of became the one to like in the background try to like manage things, sort of keep things from getting too out of pocket during investigations. And even during some arguments, trying to kind of be like the, hey, why are we acting like this right now sort of thing.
I do like that everyone believed themselves to be the voice of reason, and Izzy was the one who was most often right about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just by
know-
virtue of being
you
the
know
most
that-
normal person.
Onyx never thought they were the voice of reason. Not once.
You know that meme of all these people are so weird. Thank God I'm the only normal person here, and everyone in the group is thinking that. That
Extremely true.
all the time.
I don't think Gale thought they were normal, but also they couldn't be bothered. For mine, it's Gale had presumed romantic ability that I absolutely do not and could not act out. It is an alcohol-fueled miracle that I am married. All right, and the same question, but for someone else's character. What was something you appreciated about someone else's character? We'll start with Isaiah, is what I have there.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said earlier, playing off of like other people's like dogmatic like approach to morality versus like, oh, I'm in this space, I have to make the decisions that are presented to me. I feel like everybody had a different approach to decision making in that regard that was really fun given the themes of the narrative. Like I feel like Roland's morality and Miller's morality, while overlapping a lot, were different from each other in ways that created some interesting conflicts. And the same obviously is well more true for Miller and Onyx and Miller and Gale. So I think the way that worldview impacted your ethical decisions, like those were really nice to play through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Call me basic, but you go.
Go ahead.
Okay. I liked everything with the Discord stuff. I thought that was very fun that you could always reference dumb Discord stuff that just ruled. I thought that was so much fun. There's a chance to have a bunch of different characters that were important-ish, but also were joke delivery mechanisms. It was great.
And in return, I want to say one of my favorite things, even though it wasn't directly plot related, is how willing you were to have comedy from Roland's situation emerge.
Absolutely.
You weren't like dead serious, like no, like it's got to be all about his like deep, traumatic arc. It was like, hey, what if he was a manfluencer? And you're like, yeah, that's actually really funny. Let's do it. What if he fucking like causes huge sword gouges in the fucking apartment and ruins her chances of getting the security deposit back? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Onyx would have helped Izzy.
I love
that. I think for my part, I want to say how diametrically opposed Onyx and Roland.
Yeah.
I think that led to a lot, like the conflict between them. I think that led to a lot of interesting sessions, and it let both of our characters evolve in at least from my perspective, a more natural way.
Yeah.
And like the same with Miller, kind of to a little bit of a lesser degree.
Mm-hmm.
And like as far as like with Izzy, I really appreciated the fact that like, yeah, it was essentially a a long time buddies type friendship that was able to be played out throughout basically the whole thing. Because like we were able to kind of play off one another and like have those interactions of like with the Brass City, for instance, when Izzy had the cast on and Onyx is like, oh hey, I'll heal this for you. And Izzy's like, well, why didn't you do that before? And I was like, you didn't ask.
My favorite part of that is that you did. It was in the last episode, and you got shit on for it anyway.
I did heal Izzy in that that episode just enough to kind of stop the bleeding, and then past that, the way I looked at it is Izzy didn't ask for me to finish the job. She was fine to have the cast on.
I should have.
Do you know how
you.
insurance went up?
Stabbed you.
Nathan, you can get in on this one. Who's your favorite character?
Oh fuck!
Pick your favorite child. Go ahead. Right?
Yeah.
We won't judge.
I promise we won't resent you for not choosing us.
I promise nothing.
One person edits the show, so I don't know, maybe.
Okay, splice in Nathan saying Gale, like from earlier in the episode.
That would be fun. I'll see what I do. But on a serious note, what was something you appreciated about someone's character?
It doesn't mean that they're your favorite, to be clear.
Yeah.
Honestly, everybody did a really good job of bringing your characters to life in the silliest ways.
Yeah.
Like, just everything was great.
Pop out.
Fuck you.
Sorry.
I didn't say it. I thought it, but I didn't say it.
Love you, Nathan.
All right. Gun to my head, a genuine answer for so much of the fish out of water stuff with Roland was hilarious.
Yeah.
So much of that shit was so good. Like just the constant, monitoring and failing to monitor his Twitter use and like him like getting invested in these ideas that he doesn't understand because of the modern context was so fucking funny.
It was really good.
The most fun I had pulling a surprise character moment on you guys, let me tell you, I was not planning to have Jeff be a secret, like, ex-mercenary until it happened.
It was not at all what I had pictured on my end either, so I was like I had only ever conceived of Jeff as the normal one of Izzy's Discord group. And so, yeah, it's like, when you were like, yeah, I'm a soldier of fortune, I was like, okay, actually, that's also really funny. That his normality is itself something he's trying to do.
There was part of me that was hoping we'd get to the advancements, whatever they're called, and I was going to totally come in and play Jeff if Nathan hadn't introduced him as a character. Hi, I'm Gale, the horniest person in the world, and I'm Jeff. I have a family.
Fucking secret family. Anytime I get helpful advice from Jeff on the Discord, it was you off to the side messaging the Discord.
Shit.
Oh my god.
I have to say, for my part, when that reveal happened, part of me was like, oh hey, cool. That's an interesting little plot twist. And the other part of me was like, oh yep, that tracks.
You think about it, it does mean that, relatively speaking, Izzy was the most normal person in the Discord group.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think she might have had a few drinks about that realization. Like, god damn it, I really am the most normal person I know.
And you were involved in stopping the apocalypse.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we've got me and Daniel left for say something nice about someone else.
Oh no, I said about the Izzy jokes.
Oh.
The Izzy Discord jokes.
All right. Is it just me or did I miss someone?
Just you.
Oh, okay.
It's you.
Yeah, I'm going to compliment Izzy as well, because they were just a really great foil to all the supernatural stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're all trying to magic ourselves into oblivion. Too soon, maybe, I guess. And Izzy's out there solving problems with technology and having the perfectly reasonable reaction of panic to all the weird shit.
I did enjoy when you were in a cast, like you just had a normal human injury that you had to deal with while the rest of us were like, fallen angels and like warriors out of time and like magic demon boyfriends and all that shit. And you were just like hobbling on one foot.
All right. And next question is, what was something you discovered about your character along the way? Daniel.
I mean, I figured out that I kind of thought I was going to be more of a jerk. That's sort of the way I was thinking of like Roland. And I ended up being like kind of a better dude. Like somebody wanting to like actually help people. Maybe that's just me being a nice guy in person and couldn't bring myself to be a jerk the whole time. But my original idea was that I was going to be more of an asshole.
So you were going to be like a Captain Hammer type, like doing the heroism, but being like an asshole because the heroism is more about the appearance of goodness.
No, I think it would be just more like knights, like very, very focused on like my religion and like wanting to kill all of the heretics and that.
Okay,
sort of
okay,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess I couldn't quite bring myself to do that.
I actually do remember like the heretic related conversation coming up in the beginning of the campaign, and then not so much later on.
Yeah, I want to say it's because you guys were such a good influence on me, but also it also just didn't really fit with what was going on in the team.
Yeah.
You didn't need a guy who was going to start stabbing any Muslim he saw or something. No,
that would have been.
I mean, not that I was ever going to do that. To be clear,
I was going to say there's an element of like you don't want to play that character, and it's going to be hard to post that character online afterwards.
Yeah, and like
bit.
that's a character that should probably never be anywhere. It definitely should be played as sort of a sympathetic character.
Yeah,
and these days, shoot, Muslims having enough hard times. Like, leave that alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does help that we have the much more ambiguous word Saracen in regards to Roland.
That is why I kept saying Saracens.
All right. Who wants to go next? If nobody, go for it.
I'm actually, part of this I'm not sure, because we even kind of acknowledged that in the series during Secrets Day that Izzy kind of didn't have any secrets. Like she was from beginning to end an open book, which like I know is a risky thing to do with the character, to have them like not change in any major dramatic ways, but I think that maybe that as itself was the discovery that Izzy was like someone who was better put together than she thought she was.
No, and I think it really did contribute to like Izzy as the glue of the team, of being like, no, she simply has her shit together. She's just a normal person who happens to be on this team and aware of all of this shit,
And also has a grenade launcher.
and has a grenade launcher,
a stealthy one.
Yeah. I never intended that to become by the end her signature weapon. Like I always pictured that like her thing would just be the crappy Saturday Night Special gun. But then like once I had the grenade launcher, I really liked it when it's like it just became too funny to not have it be like her security blanket almost. That anytime there's any danger, you just hear like some clicking in the background as she unfolds it.
It's one of my favorite moments was an Izzy moment in the Roland v. Roland. We're talking to Odin and Izzy's absolutely going off, and Gale has to pull her back. It's like, holy shit, Izzy, this is a god, you're going to die.
Good times.
I think something it's less something that I discovered about my character and more something that like was revealed through the narrative, like that was always true about my character, but like I didn't know it, my character did, if that makes sense. Was the like, as soon as I learned that heaven was empty, I was like, okay, Miller's number one priority is doing whatever God says, because that's number one. But number two is making sure that all of the angels are okay. That's the most important, because once they are dead, they are simply dead, and he can't handle that.
Yeah, that was actually really good, because the angels kept coming up, and it was not great times for us. But you wanted to mitigate damage. That made a whole lot of sense.
I
I
think
suggest armor if you want to mitigate damage.
yeah. It helps a lot, apparently. I think for my part, I would have to say it's one of two things. Either the initial like wanting to the obsession that developed with Onyx collecting holy swords. And also the extremely off the cuff thing that happened at the end with Onyx deciding to say, fuck it, I want to be a god.
Yeah, we discovered that along the way, I guess.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Well, like, and that was one of those things that honestly, that was like off the cuff during that session. I was like, when the whole like thought of like a big battle was happening, I'm like, hey, wait a second. I'm gonna try and pull this off. If it pans out, cool. If it doesn't, cool. But this is a thing that Onyx wants now.
Well, that was the other thing. Like, that's why I was like, ooh, I'm going to turn into like an evil Batman. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I could die. That'll be cool. Last session stuff, wild stuff happens. But turning into a god, that's awesome.
I love the music I found for Roland being Batman, too.
It was really good.
Who am I missing? Nathan, you what was something you discovered along the way?
I mean, most of this game was made off the cuff, but that's not entirely true. It is mostly true, though.
Hey, sometimes you got to do that when herding cats.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Just me again?
I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Gale was a lot more afraid than they let on. Initially, I intended them to just be sort of aloof and uncaring, and as it went on, I realized that Gale wasn't ignoring this stuff because they didn't care. They were terrified of it.
Yeah, I definitely got that in the like the relationships with other characters aspect of like I need to be like I felt that there was a distance that Gale gave to other characters, like out of a discomfort with intimacy, which is hilarious as a means of describing the horniest character. But you know, emotional intimacy, as it were. And I think it fully tracks to me as an extension of their fear.
For sure. That was definitely deliberate and not just Russell.
Oh no. Tabletop games are like the most fucked up therapy.
Yeah,
it's true.
Every character is a self-portrait in one way or another.
Yeah, I actually kind of deliberately leaned into that for this.
Yeah.
All right.
Acted out some of the stupid shit I did when I was depressed, which I didn't act out when I was depressed. I just yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know if that was ever mentioned. Oh, I'll save it. We got questions here. Where are we at? Oh, I should have made a list. Where do you see your character in 5 years? Anybody can start.
Didn't we make a list? Wasn't it somewhere?
We did.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
We made it
it's
2
not
days
formatted.
ago.
It's not formatted
I know it's
easily
not.
on my phone.
Did I contribute to this?
No, Russell put it together, but yeah. 5 years.
5 years.
I'm probably flying around killing gods, protecting mortals, and probably end up dead. That's what I'm up to in 5 years.
Fair enough.
I just realized an evil Batman with like wings and shadow powers. You're Spawn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Wait.
I'm sure. I just know that I don't want. I think all the gods running around are no good. I think that mortals should be the ones in charge. If the god I believe in is dead, there should be no other gods.
So you're like killing Odin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Fuck that guy. Well, if Odin steps out of line, I'm killing.
Okay,
Odin.
okay.
And I see Odin stepping out of line.
I can definitely see that causing conflict between further conflict between Onyx and Roland.
Oh yeah, no, Onyx and Roland, one of them's gonna kill the other one. Like it's just gonna end up like that.
That makes sense.
That's interesting because I'm sort of in the exact inverse position of trying to acclimate the angels to the realm of mortals.
Fuck those guys. Mortals only.
like I think I'm very much like Thor Ragnarok and post Thor Ragnarok. Like we're the super cool, like extremely powerful beings that had our home destroyed, and now we're refugees, and we're just living here trying to figure that shit out.
Oh, that
not
reminds me
making
of
waves.
I wanted to point out, and in that I don't think it's a coincidence when we all did our epilogues, we all did them solo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the threat was taken care of, we never saw each other again.
Look, I gotta go do important stuff. I can't have friends.
I don't know. I think Onyx probably would have tried to keep in contact with at least Izzy.
Yeah.
And like, if anything, I think Onyx would have revealed to, at the very least, Izzy that they had like a divine spark now, and would have been like, "Hey, look what I can do."
See, and I think that Miller would actually try and stop Roland from engaging in unnecessary violence, in part due to a conflict of interest.
Fair enough.
And I'm wondering, like, would Miller gain any traction on that due to their previous camaraderie?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or would we become mortal enemies? Mortal and immortal enemies, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at, like with Roland too, because Roland's direction is so dark almost that I wonder if like Izzy's station as like his modern day guide would have survived it. Like I don't know if they would be friends who keep in rare contact, whether she would manage to keep in regular contact, or whether they would 5 years down the line end up kind of being like. I guess it would kind of depend on how much Roland tries to stay in contact with her. Frankly, I think that would be kind of what determines it. I think outside of that, I definitely think Izzy and Onyx stay in touch. Like they were already friends before everything went down. I think they would like continue like hanging out, or at least like, you know, bare minimum sending Christmas cards. I think with her Discord group, there's the okay, so I think I said this very quickly at one point when describing the Discord group, but in case I didn't, one of the members, Jeba, who is I have the empath TM, and is also like Izzy's crush within the Discord group. There's the shippy part of me that wants to say they actually hooked up like at 5 years later, but I think it's funnier if the most Izzy could do was convince Jenna to start a podcast with her.
Nice.
And they just do a fucking paranormal podcast.
Oh my
no one
God.
listens to.
Where's
A
that?
paranormal podcast in a world where the gods are just wandering around.
A little bit. Yeah.
Oh, Onyx would listen.
It's called The New Normal.
God damn it.
Yeah, but you're still looking for Bigfoot. Odin might be real, but is Bigfoot?
Yeah. We're finding the remaining cryptids.
Yeah.
I think Onyx would contribute, like, kind of behind the scenes when Izzy's like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna go look for, you know, Bigfoot or the Mothman." Be like, "Okay, does this exist? No, it does now."
Onyx drastically misunderstands. Like, "Oh yeah, we're looking for Bigfoot. We're gonna see like if we find any proof." And Onyx like, "Understood." Comes back a week later with Bigfoot's head. Nailed it. Like,
I think Miller like emails the podcast every episode with either like "that's real" or "that's not real."
I do like that.
And where I see my character in 5 years is still dead.
Well,
Moving on to high point of
Easy-
the campaign.
easy.
And
I
yeah,
mean,
to the
that's
campaign.
the other thing. I'm trying to find a way to save you. I'm trying to get you out of that. That's the other thing I'm trying to do. It's not going to work though.
Yep. Anyway, high point of the campaign, low point of the campaign. We'll start with Nathan. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it would make sense to either have me go first or last.
Yeah. And we're not trying to be mean here. We're just learning as we go, I guess.
Yeah, very much learning as we go. So, high point of the campaign for me is actually really easy. One of the only times I ever felt like I actually lived up to the horror part of our horror podcast label was Izzy's first encounter with the hybrid. I was really proud of putting the absolute fear of God in everybody with that one. Just by having this monstrosity from my nightmares rumble out of the water and nearly kill the nicest party member. Yeah. I don't know. It didn't feel great because I nearly killed the nicest party member, but...
That's horror, baby.
Yeah, that I felt like that was what I felt was my favorite moment as a GM was doing that. I don't know how that worked with you, Theo, since you were the victim of that incident, but...
Oh, no, I really liked that because it was like, I think if I remember right, the previous hunt had gone well enough that like Izzy was kind of riding a high, so having that immediately follow was like really perfect.
Not only was that the case, you remarked that several times during that episode. It's like, yeah, Izzy's getting a little more confidence now.
Yeah.
Explicitly stated.
And the low point is also actually pretty easy. I feel like I could have done better on the finale. I do. It's one of those things where I like, most of my notes pages are like at minimum a page long, maybe 2 to 3 pages. Wow. The notes I had going into the finale were 3 small paragraphs. And I do not know for the life of me why my brain was just so bereft of all thought when I was trying to think up stuff for it. But as a result, basically everything that happened in the finale was completely off the cuff. I was making up all that shit as I went. And I don't, it feels like it affected the quality, at least to me. I can't say for certain because I'm having the bias of I was having a panic attack the whole time.
I don't know. I think it worked myself.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
We take those.
Yeah.
I am very curious to know about what other people's highs and lows are because, well,
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say in advance, I can't get the rest of y'all to do this. I'm going to interpret this on an emotional level rather than be like, "Here's where Nathan really shit the bed." Yeah, here's where Nathan really fucked it up.
Is that what we meant? Okay.
I left it open-ended so people could answer however they want.
I am going to interpret it from an emotional perspective because I feel like that's more fun. And I do feel like. Yeah, I feel like the high point for Izzy, like that's actually a really good question. I don't know. The low point I think was definitely like I think because Izzy was such a stabilizing element, she really feels what the rest of the group is feeling. And so I think like everything that happened with the museum, like leading in and then like leading into what happened with Roland was her emotional low point because everything was so fractured and everyone was like doing so poorly. Like, and that was the point her Discord group had to kind of go on the run because they had become targets. And so like I feel like that was definitely her low point. Her high point, I don't want to say the epilogue because that would imply her life only got better when Gale died.
Totally fair.
So I would say aside from her like finally having like things stabilize enough to like actually meet up with her Discord group and kind of have her life together, I would say her gaining that confidence, I think after like the super fucked up labyrinth city, the brass city or whatever we called it, like getting the grenade launcher, getting like kind of starting to feel like she was becoming more of a force, more of an effective force within the group was when she started feeling a bit better about things. And so I'll say that might be her high. It was getting the grenade launcher was her emotional high.
Nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does track. Highs and lows. I think high point. This one's a combination of like emotionally for Onyx and also for me as a player. It was actually also in the Brass City. The whole thing with the sniper. Starting with like dodging the bullet and also ending up with like mimicking the voice of the dude with the grenade launcher and then finally taking out the sniper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really showcased Onyx in that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was that was I think Onyx's high point. Low point, as much as I liked it for storytelling, like storytelling and narrative purposes as a player, I think the low point for Onyx would have been the essentially almost coming to blows, like to the point where they were like willing to cut Roland down.
Yeah.
I forget how that went down. Was it Roland was affected by Leviathan first or Onyx?
I think we were both affected at the same time.
I think that was kind of it. Yeah.
I remember I was listening back to it recently so I could do the stats, which are coming up. And someone instigated the fight and Miller calmed the other one down first.
That sounds about right.
In real life, I'm a masterclass in de-escalation most of the time. So that was really enjoyable to get to exercise that in universe, literally through superpowers. I do actually think, as a player, only in retrospect, that is the closest I have to a low point of the campaign. Just because, and we realized this afterwards, like, oh, we should have made Miller be affected by the Leviathan. We should have made him angry, and that would have been really fun to play Miller, but like out of control, angry. So that's the closest I can get to a low point personally, is being like, damn, that would have been a cool scene.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy.
Totally count.
Yeah, and I did really enjoy the scene that we had, especially, and I do apologize because the reason that it happened the way it did was because I just didn't tell Nathan that I took this particular skill. So whoops.
Well, I mean, to be fair, had you not taken that skill, it probably would have ended up coming to blows being rolled.
That's true, yeah. For me, the high point of the campaign was the reveal of Heaven is Empty. That was like a huge turning point for Miller, but also like that was a huge holy shit moment as well.
That was also a really good call. The scene that took place in.
Yeah. That like I was thinking about that scene for like days afterwards.
I would say a low point for me, and this is not a blame point. This is I was doing a bad job of planning. I was so sure that God was going to be evil. I was 100% sure that God was going to be evil. I was building up Roland's whole thing like he was going to discover, like, oh, God's evil. I have to stand on my own and do my own thing. That's also why, like, I have like this gay love that's sort of not looked on well by the church. Just sort of that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, God's good. And I'm like, oh fuck, pivot. What's Roland's deal now? And that's my fault for assuming that the campaign was going to go in that direction. I could have asked Nathan if that's, or I could have planned to do things differently. But I felt like I was like going in that direction, and then I figured out how to do it. Still ended up with a Roland who doesn't like gods at the end of it, but sort of in a different way of it playing out.
I do think there's an interesting narrative potential between Roland and Miller of like, what does morality look like without sin? And I think the God is evil forces Roland to ask that question, but I also think that like God being dead can similarly start that.
Yeah, absolutely. High point, I liked being sad when my boyfriend died.
My high point was my character's low point.
Yeah.
One of the rare instances where we had to get a re-record because the way you said it was it was not for an ending.
Yeah.
I fall to my ground and sob. That sort of deal. It's like, no, that's not going to work for the end.
I wasn't that flip with it, but yeah. when we decided it was going to be the last line of the thing, I had to make it, a little sadder.
That was a really, really good scene.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
Fun.
And it gave us an excuse to use that acoustic cover of what was it?
How to Save a Life.
That's
Love
right.
Scrubs.
My high point was the first hybrid, how Gale dealt with that. Everybody is like, why the fuck would you put your hand in its mouth? That's exactly what the bear wants. and then we got our first glimpse at what Gale's deal is.
Yeah.
Was pretty cool.
Yeah. And low point was just Izzy never really got a chance to shine because their character is like guy in the chair. But we've got one character who's literally getting messages from God about this stuff.
And I will say, I don't want y'all to feel like you pushed me out. Part of that, I think, was also on my end because I was kind of, I knew Isaiah and Nathan, obviously, but I think because those first few sessions, I had a little trouble sort of locking in and focusing in. I didn't really put myself out there as much. By the time the ball was really rolling, I was like, I'll just kind of let everyone else's plots go through and support those. I kind of set myself up to more play the supporting role. Like I think if and when we do a follow-up season, that is where like I might try to do a little more in the spotlight. But as is, I don't think like y'all pushed me out. I want to make sure that's clear. I think it was more I did not put myself in a position to have a day in the spotlight.
Gotcha.
I think the tricky thing about like actual play podcasts is that, you're playing a tabletop game and everybody wants to be in the spotlight for enough time to show themselves off and tell a compelling story, and that can get competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is nice, even if even if it's sometimes regretful, it is nice to have a character whose role is to be like, I'm giving you the spotlight.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. To be fair, throughout the whole thing, there were numerous times where like I was attempting to hold myself back going, okay, yeah, I know magic is my deal and magic can solve a lot of problems in this system, but I don't want to take the spotlight from everyone else.
Yeah.
And then the spotlight kept following you like, no!
Stop it! Go away, look at them!
That did actively manifest a couple times. All right. If that's everybody, then I can move on to stats.
Please do.
Yeah,
All
I'm curious about these stats.
Mm-hmm.
Stats and general trivia, I suppose. The most completely unrelated tangents we had was either God of War or hating on Elon Musk.
Listen, hating on Elon Musk is always related.
Yeah.
I don't
I will
remember
never get
the
tired
God
of
of
hating
War
that man.
tangent.
Oh, we talked about God of War a couple times.
I guess as soon as we started bringing up Norse mythology, and okay.
Yeah, the one I specifically remember was begging, don't make me do a Scottish accent when we summoned Mimir.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Let's see. Total damage to players, approximately, I'm not entirely sure on this one because I might have marked it down differently a couple times, was 93.
That's a lot.
That's kind of sobering when you
lot
put
of
like
damage.
Does that include like damage that like I blocked by my armor?
Probably. But I can say
of course. It's
much more confidently that we mitigated 27 damage. So armor effective, but not as effective as you might have guessed. As for damage dealt, Izzy did 5 the entire campaign. Gale did 10. Miller, despite having 0 actual monster kills, dealt a respectable 22. Roland dealt 46, and Damien came in at 53. Damien,
Holy crap.
Onyx came in.
Holy crap.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, when you can shoot fireballs...
I did kill Yuri, right? Or did somebody else get the final blow?
No, that was
Onyx,
me
yeah.
that got the
I did
killing blow on
say you're fired and then hit them with a flaming sword, but I guess that wasn't the finishing
And
blow.
that
Correct.
Wasn't the finishing blow. Yep.
Most ums removed. Would anybody like to guess?
It's me.
I'm gonna
It's
say
gotta be
Daniel.
me.
No, it's me. I'm the editor. That's what I do.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Boo! Boo!
Ah.
You have no idea how many ums I removed that you didn't get to see because that never got uploaded.
Any other ones?
Oh yeah, I got a pretty good list here.
Okay.
Onyx solved 33 problems with magic and created 11. Already covered that one.
Mm-hmm.
Squeakiest chair was Theo.
Yeah, I need to replace this fucking chair. I'm sorry.
That fact was the impetus for this entire thing.
That makes sense.
Just editing it, it's like, wow, if I was giving an award away for Squeakiest chair, it'd go to Theo. Wait a second, I can.
With that, I think that confirms I need to replace this fucking thing.
I got a chair recommendation for you. It's very cheap and feels good to sit in.
It's called the floor.
No, I don't know what it's fucking called, but I can look it up and then send it to you later.
Thank you.
All right. Worst character, I think we all know, Caillou.
When did Caillou show up? Wait a minute, I'm forgetting this.
No, it's just in general.
No, I agree.
Agreed.
I agree.
100%.
Most least remaining character sheet for Daniel. And for kills, Izzy killed one rod nest by driving flaming rods into it with radio magic. Miller stopped one wound but scored 0 discrete monster kills. Wows managed to down 2 beasties with narrative damage. We never actually... Once we actually set a number for his damage. Roland had 3 discrete monster kills. Gale killed 6 monsters, a car, and themselves, meaning their score is reduced by 3 since one of the monsters was also a teammate.
That tracks.
And Onyx killed 7 monsters and a room worth of monster eggs. The monsters, of course, killed 17 humans on screen and maimed a non-specific number more.
Okay, so we definitely net negative in the KD ratio.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I mean, it's to be expected, but we still don't love it.
All right. Highest body count, Onyx. Most teammates healed, Onyx. Total luck used was 18.
Excellent.
We vexed 14 bystanders, and I counted 41 Gale sex jokes, whether people caught them or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff, Gale.
What sex jokes did Gale make that were not noticed?
Oh, there was one. It's my favorite one. It was in the hospital episode. I think Nathan said, this place has really bad vibes, and I said, oh, that's fine. I brought my own. And nobody caught it.
Oh, that's really good, actually.
God damn
Completely
it.
missed it.
Yeah.
Completely missed it.
Oh my god.
I'm going to say...
Well done, and go fuck yourself.
I'm going to say that, and you can believe me or not, I did catch it. I just didn't choose to respond.
I believe you.
Understood. We had 9 failures in clutch moments. Some of those we used luck for, some of those we did not. Roland ran off on his own heedless of consequence 6 times, and
Yes.
Izzy was singled out and traumatized at least 5 times.
Miles
Yeah.
O'Brien of the team.
And that is my list.
I checked it
When
twice.
did you start compiling that list?
I don't know.
Okay.
A week or 2 ago?
3 hours ago. Just imagine you listening to like
you were
every
re-listening
episode.
to stuff. You were re-listening
Yes.
to stuff for it. Okay.
Do we know how many times we split the party? Because I feel like it was at least like it was more than every other mystery that we ended up splitting the party.
I'm pretty
think
sure
it
it
happened a
was
lot.
once a mystery.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
okay.
I was about to say. I
'Cause-
think it was every mystery that we had split up.
Yeah, because
If it works for the
we
Scooby
split-
Gang, like
yeah,
Absolutely.
we
Well,
split
and
up on the train.
I'll track that next time. Jeez.
I'm going through my memory, and I'm pretty sure that like whenever we split up, I have split up with everybody except for Izzy. I've never been paired with Izzy. Just by sheer coincidence.
bad vibes.
Yeah, you split up at least once an episode.
Yeah?
I think part of it is that Izzy so often was the one hanging behind to like gather information, so that just made her already a less likely candidate. Because you were always splitting off with someone to be like the scouting, like to going the forward party. So it was just not a likely scenario for Izzy to be like, I'll be the one leading this charge.
I do feel like Miller and Izzy interacted the least in this campaign,
which is funny given we're the two players who knew each other.
Well, so I choose to believe that Miller and Izzy are simply like tight and that's it. Like they don't hang out, they just are tight.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we don't talk to each other, but like, we're on a team.
Yeah.
We depend on each other. We respect each other. But like, I don't know her middle name. Yeah, exactly.
Those two are definitely on Christmas card basis, which I think leads to great things, like her getting a Christmas card that's like, I know God is dead, and the whole thing is very complicated, but nonetheless, Merry Christ Mass. Merry Nativity.
Real missed opportunity to just go back and edit so that it looks like Miller does not know Izzy's name.
Merry Christmas, Christabel. Wait, what the Miller?
Hey, great to see you, guy.
What's up, Buckaroo?
Yeah,
my name's not Buckaroo.
What up, homie?
Yeah.
Hey, champ.
What's up, Broseph Stalin?
Your name was Veronica, right? No. Oh, leaves.
Yeah, I'm looking for Veronica.
All right. Does that kind of wrap us up for our episode there? Do we have any final thoughts?
Ooh, final thoughts. This is a good one. Anybody got anything?
My final thought is I have a cold and a headache, so I'm ready to go. But
my final thought is 6 seasons in a movie.
My final thought is that Low Places was a story about not dealing with your problems.
See, Onyx kind of dealt with their problem at the end. Granted, they created the problem. It was still their problem. No, I was thinking about that, like, because the topic of like a follow-up season has come up like a couple of times now. Considering Onyx's progression, I don't think I would really be able to play Onyx.
No, they're the bad guy next season.
Oh my god.
Oh, that could be fun. Especially if I was allowed to give input on what Onyx was up to during that.
I definitely haven't been thinking about that before this.
But
if we do a second season, it's going to be a while though.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, like I'd have to come up with a new character, and that kind of makes me sad because I really like playing on.
Yeah. I got something in mind, which would be kind of fun to switch GMs for a continuous story, but that's early stages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
and I need to pitch it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I joked I had a headache, but my last thought is it has been very fun to play with everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's about where I'm at. It's this was a great experience. This was a great time. I am very happy that you have all undertaken it with me, and I'm proud of Low Places. I am.
Yeah.
We're proud of you. Everybody clap for Nathan.
Yeah. No, don't do this. I'm gonna start crying. No, I'm gonna.
That gets really confused in the editing room. Which clap do I sync?
I tried to clap quietly enough that it would pass through Discord, and it just did not work.
Fair enough.
I mean, I have a sound effect on my mixer board that I could use.
Oh yeah, we can just cue the soundboard.
And here it comes.
Just start playing like the Triumph music. Let's go. Let's this has been Daniel's Dread Tales. Have a terrifying day.
Fucking see you again starts playing.
Bye-bye.
Okay, stop
recording. All right, saving
and cut.
Thanks for listening, and thanks to Hatch on the Discord for providing a couple questions for us to answer. We forgot to give you credit when we were recorded, so it is here now. Additionally, we want to give a big thank you to Theo and Isaiah for joining us for Low Places. It wouldn't have been the same without them.
One last time now. Low Places used the Monster of the Week system from Evil Hat Productions. Our keeper was Nathan Friedman. Daniel Fernandez played Roland the Exile. Damien Morfitt played the Spellslinger, Onyx Blackblade. Isaiah Brighton played Miller the Divine. Theodore Monk played Isabelle Dukakis, the Seeker. And editing, sound designing, producing, and playing Gale the Late Pararomantic was myself, Russell Philip McCracken. Daniel's Dread Tales podcast art is by Trin, who was at Tea Time Witch on Twitter before Twitter got all yucky. Our main theme is by Claire LW, who you can find on SoundCloud. We had an additional song made for us by Isaiah, and while I'm at it, a big thanks to the Pixabay music community for countless other songs used over the course of this campaign. We've got our next monthly stream coming up on the last Sunday of the month, and our next regular episode will be on December 4th. Until next time... Okay, here's my real final thoughts. Low Places is a story about not addressing your problems. Alright, obviously there's Onyx summoning shadow goo into the world becoming a problem, but the goo was just looking for wows, scouring the universe in a frighteningly literal way. And the only reason it was looking for wows is because Gale and Steven did a ritual, and the only reason Gale did the ritual was to forget Miller. But it's not Miller's fault, which means that the blame ultimately lies with Miller.